certain I've given up on flirting, 'cause I love you much too much. And whenever trouble appears, I'll wipe your tears, chase all your fears away. Nothing's ever bad as it seems, just of your dreams, right through the Milky Way. Made my mind up, I'm gonna get me signed up, 'cause I love you much too much. 'Cause you know I really love you much too much. Gonna kick those other lovers into touch. And whenever trouble appears, I'll wipe your tears, chase all your fears away. Nothing's ever bad as it seems, dust off your dreams, right to the Milky Way. Made my mind up, I'm gonna get me signed up, 'cause I love you much too much. I won't leave you, do anything to grieve you, 'cause I love you much too much. And now I'm certain I've given up on flirting, 'cause I love you much too much. And whenever trouble appears, I'll wipe your tears, chase all your fears away. Nothing's ever bad as it seems, just of your dreams, right to the Milky Way. Made my mind up, I'm gonna get me signed up, 'cause I love you much too much. Yes, I love you much too much, 'cause I love you much too much.
So that's pretty much it, other than automation, which would mainly be vocal automation. But like I said before, if there are elements that you want to step forward, you can move those faders up so they make more of an impression on the bus compressor. Whatever's leading the bus compressor is going to cause everything else to duck down in a way. So if you raise the volume of the piano, for instance, the saxes will duck, etc. What I did on the 2-bus is I started with the diamond EQ. I added low range around 50 hertz, because below there I wasn't hearing any difference, especially considering I had already high-passed certain elements in low frequencies. I started hearing it around 50. Once I got up here to around 60, there was too much going on in a frequency range I didn't want to hear, so I backed it off to 50-ish. This is another boost around 95, I'm guessing. high mid frequency boost. High frequency boost is at 50K, which doesn't mean it's boosting only 50K. That means that's where the center is of whatever curve this is using, and it adds air to the entire program. After that is the bus compressor. I'm doing a 30 millisecond attack with an auto release on 2:1. Like I said before, the SSL version of this gives a lot more than other versions like the Waves version or the UAD version, which may be because they're emulating a different version of the compressor. But I got what sounded good to me, and I ended up compressing somewhere around 4 to 5 instead of initially I was compressing down here. But the amount isn't that important. What's important is that the program's moving the way you want it to, you're hearing what you want to hear, and you're offering the listener the emotional ride you want them to get. Next is the Shadow Hills mastering compressor, which I actually don't like to compress. I let the SSL do the compressing, and Shadow Hills is more for glue. So what I'll do is I'll move the optical threshold, which is over here, up until I see the needle moving when it's looking at optical. This side is looking at discrete. I move it until this optical needle is moving, and then I notch it back until it's not moving anymore. Discrete ratio I put on 1.2. Same thing with that. Depending on the type of song and the speed of the song, I might want the needle to move, but in this case I don't think it moved at all. Maybe it moved a little bit. The other thing about this is I have the side chain in, which means there's a high pass filter on the detector circuit. I believe it's at 90 Hertz, so it lets the kick through and elements of the bass through without compressing them. I felt like that sounded better than the compressor moving every time some low element came through, especially after adding lows with the diamond. I could have tried the other way, Shadow Hills first and diamond after that. That's not what I did. That would have produced a different sound, though not necessarily better or worse. I also moved the transformer from nickel to iron, which makes it less clean, a little more gritty. Steel is one step, again in that same direction. Next is the ATR 102 for tape. Mainly what I did with this was I checked the input by switching this over to input. Made sure I wasn't getting up here into the red, which is where you start getting, let's say, artifacts, or you can start fuzzing things up. That's useful if you want to use it specifically for that reason, like maybe on a kick drum or something like that, if you want to get that effect. But that's not the effect I wanted for the whole program, so I made sure the needle wasn't getting up there, it wasn't affecting the sound that way. Then I switched it back to output, and I sent the output to the final plug-in, which is the Oxford limiter. These two boxes right here will light up orange if I'm overloading on the way in, which is why I brought down the reproduce so that it wouldn't overload on the way in, and then I raised the gain again with this lever. I also used enhance to bring the vocal up front and make the entire program sound the way I thought was optimal. And that's it. So that was jazz. I hope you got something out of it. The tracks are on Cambridge if you want to mix it yourself. I'll have a link in the description. It's back to rock for me. Bill C, 2018. I'm out.